Welcome to all. In this class, I am going to talk about hydrophytes. It is the topic prescribed by Coimbatore University for the fourth semester students of botany. Under this topic, we are going to discuss about definition, classification, and adaptations of hydrophytes. First, we will see the definition. The word hydrophyte is derived from two Greek words, that is hydro means water and phyton means plant. By this we can define the hydrophyte as a water plant or an aquatic plant. So hydrophytes are the plants which grow in the water or on the water and on the soil which is saturated with water. And we can also define hydrophytes as the plants which grow in wet places or in water, either partly or wholly submerged areas. Next, distribution of hydrophytes. As you know that they are water plants, so hydrophytes are present in all the freshwater and marine water bodies like rivers, lakes, ponds, pools, streams, tanks, and marshy areas and oceans, etc. So these hydrophytes includes both non-vascular and vascular plants. Here, the non-vascular plants are usually microscopic in nature. They are called phytoplanktons, or also we can call it as algae. Next, classification. These plants are classified mainly into three categories, mainly based on their relation with water and air. So those are, first one is submerged hydrophytes, second one is floating hydrophyte, third one is amphibious or rooted emergent hydrophytes. We will discuss one by one. The submerged hydrophytes. Here, these are the plants which grow under the water surface and are not in contact with the atmosphere. They complete their life cycle within the water surface itself, so they are not in touch with the atmosphere. These group of plants, what we call the submerged hydrophytes. Again, the submerged hydrophytes are of two types. They are submerged floating plants and submerged rooted plants. Submerged floating plants, they are not rooted in the soil. They are freely floating under the water areas. Example for this is Ceratophyllum, Najas, etc. And the second category is submerged rooted plants. So these rooted plants, they are rooted in the soil. That means the bottom in the pond or the pools, the bottom is deposited with soil. So in that soil, these plants are rooted. For example, Potamojeta, Cara, Vallisneria, etc. The second category of hydrophyte is floating hydrophytes. So here, these are the group of plants that float on the surface, now slightly below the surface of water. That means they are floats on the water surface area, or just below the surface water they are floating. So these plants, what we call floating hydrophytes. Again, these plants, they have established contact with both water and air. So again, there are two types of floating hydrophytes. They are free floating and rooted with the floating leaves. The first one is free floating hydrophytes. They freely floats on the surface of water. The roots are immersed in the water, and the flowers, leaves, stem, they are present above the water. For example, lemma, wolfia, eichhornia, pistia, etc. Then rooted with the floating leaves. Here, these plants, they're rooted in the water. That means the roots are present in the bottom of the pond. But the leaves and the flowering parts, they are floating on the surface of water. So example for this category is Neelambo, Nymphia, Trappa, etc. Few examples of floating hydrophytes. You can see the diagram. Then the third category is amphibious or rooted emergent hydrophytes. So here, These plants that grow in waterlogged soil are in the shallow water. So these plants are adapted for both aquatic mode of life and terrestrial mode of life. Then here, amphibious hydrophytes, they produce, the root system is completely present in water, but other parts emerged well above the water. Only the root and the bottom of the stem is present in the water. Then majority portions of the plant is well above the water. For example, Typha, Limnophila, Sagittaria, Ranunculus, etc. These are the examples for amphibious hydrophytes. Cypress, you can see the Typha type. Then we're going to see the adaptations present in the hydrophytes. Here, we have three types of adaptations. One is morphological adaptation, anatomical adaptation, and physiological adaptation. First, we will see the morphological adaptation. How these plants are adapted to the stress. The stress is water. How it overcomes the stress of excess water. That we are going to see in adaptations. So morphological adaptation, again, we have the root stem adaptations. So root, we'll discuss the root. You can see due to availability of plenty of water, roots are poorly developed. Again, root is the system for the absorption. So, but the plant itself present in the water body. That's why the roots are poorly developed in hydrophytes, because entire surface of the plant which is in contact with the water, and entire body acts as absorptive surface. In few plants, roots are entirely absent. For example, hydrilla. And hydrophytes that shows true root caps are absent in hydrophytes. Instead of root cap, you can find root sheath or root packets present in floaters. Floater means floating hydrophytes. Again, if the roots are present, again the roots are fibrous in nature, adventitious roots. They are reduced in length and they are unbranched or branched hydrophytes. There is one plant, Dacia. It shows two types of roots, that is adventitious roots and floating roots. The floating roots are spongy roots, whitish in color, that helps this plant to float on the surface of water. Then coming to the stem, in submerged species, the stem is long, slender, spongy, and flexible in nature. Example, you can see the hydrilla and the Potamogeta. Whereas in free floating species, the stem is floating horizontally, that's in Azolla, or in some cases, the stem is thick, stoloniferous, and spongy. Stoloniferous means it is modified into stolon, a type of stem. Again, in some species, the stem is modified into rhizome or tuber or runner. For example, Nymphia and Neelambu, you can come across the tuberous stem. You can see the photographs of Neelambu tubers and also Eichhornia stem, the spongy nature. Stolon stem you can see in Eichhornia. Then leaves. Here, the floating leaves, floating plants, they have large, flat, and entire in nature, light or dark green in color. They have long petiole, and the upper surface of the leaf is covered with wax. The long petiole is due to the leaves are floating on the surface of water. But in the emergent species, that is amphibious hydrophytes, in some cases, the leaf shows heterophyly. That means it shows two types of water, that is submerged leaves and aerial leaves. Submerged leaves are dissected or linear in nature, they are ribbon shaped. Dissected means they are shapeless. Aerial leaves, they are broader in nature, floating on or they above the surface of water. Usually, all the types of hydrophytes, they have coating of wax on the surface of leaf. So this wax prevents the clogging of stomata, and also it prevents the injuries due to physical and chemical parameters. You can see the diagrams. The nymphia leaf and Nilambu leaf, they have the large leaves. They are freely floating on the surface of water. And another side, you can come across the heterophily. Submerged leaves, they are dissected leaves, whereas aerial leaves, you can see they are normal leaves are present. Then we'll discuss about the anatomical adaptations. Here, the first one is the reduction in protecting structure. So protecting structure, that is epidermis cuticle, is very important. But in this case, these structures are reduced in nature. You can see the cuticle is very thin in nature and totally absent in submerged species. So it is a waxy layer that prevents the penetration of excessive heat inside the plant. But these hydrophytes are already present in water. So the cuticle is very thin in nature and totally absent in the submerged parts. Whereas the epidermis, it is a single layered epidermis made up of thin-walled parenchyma cells which facilitate the absorption process. And also hypodermis acts as absent or poorly developed in nature, hypodermis. Then the second heading here is increase in aeration. That means the tissues are made up of to increase the aeration here. In submerged species, the stomata are totally absent because they are completely present inside the water. Even if it is present, it is a functionless stomata. But in floating species, you can come across the stomata on the upper side of the leaves. So that helpful in the exchange of gases from atmosphere to inside the plants. And also in amphibious plants, the stomata, which is present all over the aerial parts, which helpful in the exchange of gases. Then vascular tissues are reduced. So vascular tissues here, the endodermis is generally distinct. It is the outermost layer of vascular bundle or the innermost layer of cortex. It is generally distinct in nature. And vascular bundles usually aggregated towards the center. In hydrophytes, the vascular bundles are present in the center of the stem. And in floating species, these vascular bundles are very much reduced. And the mesophyll, it is a photosynthetic tissue. It is undifferentiated in submerged species. But it is well differentiated into palisade and spongy in floating leaves. The air cavities, the cortex is completely filled with air cavities. By this, these air cavities helpful to maintain the buoyancy in hydrophytes. Next, the third adaptation here is physiological adaptations. Usually the hydrophytes, they have low compensation point and low osmotic concentration of the cell sap. Then the second adaptation is epidermal cells. They are involved, helps for absorption and gaseous exchange. Gases produced during photosynthesis and respiration, they are present in the air cavities, and these gases are utilized by the plants when they are required. Then some hydrophytes, they have mucilaginous cells and canals. These mucilaginous cells, canals, which protects from decay of hydrophytes. By this, the hydrophytes that overcome the stress of water, they are adapted for both morphologically, they are adapted anatomically, the tissues are well adapted for the stress, and also physiologically, they are well developed. So you can expect the questions for adaptations in this topic. If you have any doubts, please comment your doubts or post your doubts. Thank you very much for listening. In the next class, we're going to discuss another ecological group, that is mesophytes. Thank you.